Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. I am a senior consultant and solution architect with Western Computer. I've been with Western Computer for 10 years in the finance area and then several of the areas of the product since then. From here, I want to show you what we have available to us in our general journals. So I'm going to go to a default batch where I've added a couple of new lines. And you'll notice this first line that I've got highlighted. Under account type, we've always had GL account number, customer, vendor, bank account, fixed asset, IC partner. You're going to notice we have an employee. So here again, Microsoft has heard our cries because I have had every customer probably in the last 10 years ask me, how do I reimburse my employees for their expenses without creating them as a vendor? Well, I couldn't. I had to create them as a vendor card. So now I'm tracking them not only as an employee, but also as a vendor. Business Central gives us the ability to be able to reimburse employees for their expenses. In true Dynamics fashion, after I choose an account type, when I drill down into, I'm going to get a list of my employees. And I want to go to the list and show you some new fields on the employee card. In order to accomplish this, just like a vendor has to have a vendor posting group, the employee has to have an employee posting group. And the account number that is associated with this employee posting group is the payable account you want this expense to post to prior to you actually creating the payment. So if you have a specific payable account for your employee expenses, you would assign that to the employee posting group. Also, they've come in and they've added a bank branch number and a bank account number so that I can do an ACH to the employee instead of just offering checks. So I have the ability to offer both if I want to do ACHs. On the employee card, you also have attachments that we can attach documentation to. We're also generating employee ledger entries when we do this. Those of you that have payroll, don't confuse this with payroll ledger entries. Those have nothing to do with this. This is an employee ledger entry that is very similar to like a vendor ledger entry or a customer ledger entry. It's similar to the vendor ledger entry in that it's creating a payable that then can be brought into the payment journal. The payment journal can pay both vendors and employees now. So with this expense that I have for this employee, I can see my dimensions over here on the right-hand side, which is really handy now because used to we had to drill into the navigate and look at the dimension box, but now I can actually see it in a fact box out to the side. But I also have the ability to attach an incoming document to this expense line. You used to have the links in that we would pull into a shared space on a server, and then you could link to that shared space. This is actually incoming documents into the Business Central environment, so we no longer have to have that link space on a server. I've got an incoming document icon, and when I click on that, I can view incoming documents that have already been populated. I can select those incoming documents, or I can create a document from a file. I want to go ahead and just do the select so that I get the screen to come up and show you that I can see in the list I don't have my budget receipt, my budget car rental agreement. So I know that I'm going to have to go out and create that from a file. So if I click on my icon and I choose a location of where that is. Here's my rental car agreement. I'm going to open this file, and it's going to bring in this PDF into a rental car agreement incoming document. This is part of the OCR process, so if you're also in payables wanting to do OCR, it's a very similar situation in that it brings that document in. I can look at that PDF from here, but I have to release it in order to be able to use it, and then I'll close it, choose it, and say OK. And now that rental car agreement is attached to this line, and it will stay attached and linked with this line even after posting. So you can get to the document that is associated with this ledger entry that you're paying this employee. This is new because of how it's actually bringing it into Business Central, and it's right there available to you. I shared with you earlier that we also have the reconciliation accounts. So this is my petty cash account. And if I enter a transaction to any of my reconcilable accounts, when I click on my reconcile icon, I can come in and I can see the change that is going to be made to that reconciled account prior to posting. So it gives me a forward look of being able to make sure that I'm not getting my account out of whack. A couple of the other options that we have in our journals is Microsoft has partnered up with several of the payroll systems in order to be able to bring transactions in. If I click on this, you're going to see a couple that are set up in the Sandbox environment. Ceridian is one of them, and then QuickBooks is one of them. I know also that ADP can be set up as one of them. So we can actually create a link with your payroll provider and bring those transactions from your payroll provider directly into the journal so that we no longer have to have a developer write us an import for those transactions. Also, we have this Edit in Excel button, which is just super cool in that when I click on this, it goes out and it opens this journal up in Excel so that now I can copy and paste and do all of my Excel functions, but it's still part of Business Central Journal. What happens is I get Excel open on my screen, and I have a big green box over here on the side that tells me that it is attached to Business Central, and one of the options in that box is to update Business Central. So when I click on that box, then you see those changes that you've made in Excel in your journal. This also makes being able to start like beginning balances and things along those lines just really straightforward in that we're going in and out of Excel that way. But when I do that, my document number potentially gets out of sync with the latest document number that's in my number series for my general journal. So I've got an option to renumber my document numbers. If I click on that, you're going to notice that Dynamics is repopulating my document numbers here so that they now align with the next available numbers. So this would then post. I don't know if any of you are using the preview posting. It's not brand new, but a lot of people don't know about it. And what it does is it really gives you the opportunity to see if you've got any errors, any dimension issues, any posting group issues, and it's going to show you all the tables and the transactions that would be created when you post that journal. So you, there again, get that preview up front of what you're going to be doing to your general ledger, which is really, really nice. So this is just a basic general journal. Let me change now and open a beginning AR journal. And the reason I want to do this is I want to show you this icon up here called Prepare Journal. The Prepare Journal, its function now is to help us with setting up the system, make it easier for you to get your beginning balances in so that you're not having to do a big import of your AR and your AP. What Business Central is going to do for us here is it's going to go out. I'm going to click on this customer's opening balance, and it's going to create a journal line for every customer. So let me click here. It tells me it was successfully created. And what I've gotten is a journal line for every customer I have in the system. What I then can do with that is go back to my home and edit this in Excel, pop it out to Excel, put in my document numbers, put in my amounts, so forth and so on, and then feed that back in to this journal from Excel so that I don't have to use Rapid Start for being able to bring in my open invoices or my open payments. The last journal that I want to show you that I think is truly life-changing to being able to use the system, and so many people have wanted this ability so far, is the Payment Reconciliation Journal. What this journal does for us is I have had many customers ask me, can I pull transactions from my bank account into Dynamics and be able to then apply those and post it so I don't have to re-enter like payments that have come into my bank account or wires that I've entered through my bank site. A lot of times customers, if they do a wire to a vendor and they do that through their bank site, then they have to come back in and do a manual journal to record that they've paid that vendor. Or the opposite of that is the cash receipts journal where I have to record all my customer payments. What we have in this payment reconciliation journal is we have the ability to go out and grab a bank transaction file. Well, every bank puts this in a different spot, so you have to find it. But your bank gives you the opportunity to export your transactions into like a CSV file, a TXT file, or an XML file, and this journal will read that in. What it then does is gives us the opportunity to start matching those automatically. Very similar to the bank statement that we've had available to us in the last couple of versions of our Dynamics product. And then it starts giving us a level of confidence that it feels confident in this match based on the information that it gets from the bank. This is the transaction text that is coming from your bank. So if I click into this medium here, it's going to give me a list of all the outstanding invoices that I can apply against, and it's going to show me the one that it's applying against. And I can say, yep, that looks right. But my second one here that's low, and these are both vendors, so these would be wires that I put through. I entered the word Wide World Importers. Maybe that was a DBA. But if I click into my low here and it gives me a list, I notice I don't have worldwide as a vendor. So it doesn't know how to match that up. So it's just matching it with the first invoice it finds, but I can change that and apply it to any invoice that I have outstanding in my list. I can do this for vendors and customers. And you'll notice that for customers, I had an invoice number from my customers. So it matched up pretty good, but I'm still low. So there's something going on there, and I need to investigate. on what's going on there. But after I feel good about the application here, I can accept applications or I can remove them and then do them manually if I want to. After that, then I would post, and I now have applications against outstanding payments that need to be made to vendors and outstanding receivables from customers. And I've not had to manually enter those journals. So I hope I've piqued your interest as far as new availabilities in the finance environment in Business Central, and the fact that Microsoft, through the Dynamics products, is giving us more and more of the needs and the wants that you as customers have wanted.